Now I'm not sure if you can tell, but this is a swollen one. It's been 2 weeks. It's definitely much less swollen than it used to be when I first sprained it, but it is still swollen, and that's a sock mark, so that looks weird. And it is still tender to the touch a bit and hurts a little bit, but 2 weeks now, it's much more flexible than it used to be. I used to barely move it this way or that way. It hurt a lot. But now I can do this. I still don't have full range of motion. I can't do this quickly. It kind of is really painful to do that still, but I can now do consistent exercises daily, like jumping up and down, jumping jacks. There's some kind of exercises I can't do because it requires me to quickly push off the ankle and bend it a lot, and that hurts still. But I've been able to do jumping jacks, and I can stationary bike just fine. So, okay, let's move on, and I'll show you how to wrap your ankle with the ice pack. Alright, to start off, to care for your swollen ankle, especially within the first few days, the first week or so of hurting it, you're gonna need a gel ice pack like this that's flexible because you want it to be flexible around your ankle. And you'll also need a cloth sort of bandage like this Ace bandage. And bonus points if it comes with something where you can close it, like this Velcro, but it works just as well if you just have to tie it off. Alrighty, there's my foot, and there's the tender spot of my ankle. Again, it's not as swollen as it used to be. It no longer has much bruising, so it might not be as noticeable. But that's where it is, and what you want to do with your gel ice pack is make sure to cover the area that's swollen or in pain. Earlier in my ankle injury, this bit of my foot right here was swollen, so what I did is I covered it like that. See? Where it's all the way over there. But right now, all that's really still swollen is this area, so I'm just going to focus on wrapping it there. Yeah? Seems like pretty obvious, but it's really necessary to make sure that you're wrapping it stably and so that you still can walk comfortably, and so that it's covering all the swollen areas, because if you're not covering all the swollen areas, you're not helping all the areas. You get what I'm saying? What I do is I just like take a little bit more on the edge and wrap it around already, and then I pull this across, and then I start wrapping a little more. Definitely more helpful if your foot is in the air while you're doing this, because then it's just easier to wrap around. But because I'm filming and I don't have someone else to film me, this is just how it is. See, I just lifted it up in the air. Once you've established that this is staying in place, you want to begin wrapping this underneath your foot in that midsection. Do you see? Definitely don't want it to be folding too much because you're going to be walking on this potentially, depending on how long you're leaving this ice pack on. And then you pull it over like so. See, and it came from the midpoint, and then wrap it around your ankle again. Wrap it around the midpoint of your foot again, like so. Also, while you're wrapping, you want to make sure it's tight enough that it's going to stay put, but not too tight that it's painful and cutting off blood supply, because that's bad, because then it'll hurt, you know? And then, when you get to the end of whatever end you have, whether you have to tie it off or tuck it in, just like pull it until it reaches a nice top point, and then you're done. So you've got this like nice bulge on your foot. There's what I meant. The mid sole of your foot. I recommend you do, especially again in the first few days, the first week of your sprained ankle, is you do this when you wake up, and if you walk around a lot during the day, do the same thing with the ice pack wrapping after you walk around a lot or after you work out. And then I also would do it right before bed. That's what I've been doing, and I think it really helped put the swelling down a lot, like doing it 2 or 3 times a day. It was very helpful. And then what you want to do is grab a pillow, elevate your foot as necessary. And I also like, since not all of us sit around for hours on end, or not hours, for like 10 minutes in a row. It's totally fine to like walk around in this and stuff. Just when you sit down again, try to keep your foot elevated, and that'll help stop the blood from pooling in that area and adding to the bruising and stuff like that. I always do is I just take this off when I feel like it's no longer cold, but you could just keep it on there for 20 minutes or half an hour if you want. And then what I like to do after I take it off is just lightly massage the area around it, if that makes sense. And just so the way I wrap this ankle with the ice pack, guys, is the same way I would wrap it before putting on shoes to go like walk to class, or before putting on workout shoes if I'm gonna do exercises and stuff like that, and or like before I put on my running shoe to bike or anything like that, like indoor biking. If you start exercising like I have been, like to continue training my muscles, just make sure that your ankle is up for that range of motion. It took me 4 days before I felt comfortable about putting the pressure on my foot for pedaling on my indoor bike. And before that, I was just doing some like sort of Pilates type exercises, like the Blogilates exercises. So just make sure that you're paying a lot of attention to your own body and to the way it feels, because that's always very important when you're healing. And if you guys want me to show you some of the exercises that I did before biking, just to make sure I was maintaining my muscle strength, I can show you that if you'd like. But this is just how I've been wrapping my ankle 2 times or 3 times a day with an ice pack, because it's extremely helpful, and doing this daily when you're injured with really any injury, but especially with a sprained ankle or a hurt foot, it'll definitely help it heal faster and will help swelling a whole lot. Because some people can have really bad swelling for weeks on end simply because they're not taking care of their foot properly, you know? Make sure that you're wrapping this for stability, or wearing a sort of ankle brace when you're going to be on your foot a lot, to avoid too much motion as well. But also make sure that once your foot is able to do exercises again, to also begin building in some motion, because you don't want your ankle to be stiff. So again, if you guys want me to show what I've been doing to continue giving my foot more range of motion and strength, I can show that in next week's video, okay? That's all, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I found this a little helpful. Bye! Bye! My foot says bye.